On this program about practical jokes, I've invited a couple of very good friends of mine to tell some of the jokes they used to do as a kid and some of the classic jokes. Mr. Tim Conway and Mr. Carl Reiner. Fellas, thanks for being here.
I was going to say...
Didn't we spend a little time...
What were we talking about just a few minutes ago?
I was saying that that's the worst of the practical jokes.
Yeah,
they hardly ever worked.
It never worked.
Absolutely
Did it
right.
work on you?
Yes, it did. You know?
Did you ever make this phone call? Kids are probably still doing this today.
Hello, Mr. Wilson? You have Prince Albert in a can? Well, let him out.
We all did that.
Not too high class,
Yeah.
We did that
but
in the Bronx,
you could have a
yes.
wonderful day doing things like
Yes.
Gary Owens, who used to be on the Laughing Show. Hello, this is that guy. He did a...
You did that very well.
Yeah, thank you very much. He did a guest shot on McHale's Navy, and they had an electrician who had this gag, and he was the epitome of subtlety because he never really went for it. He would come up behind you with a coat hanger that he had about this long, and he would tap you on top of the shoe. And it was just enough that you felt something, and by the time you looked down, naturally, he's gone. So he goes up behind Gary Owens, and he goes, and Gary goes, nothing there. Gee, well, I don't know what that was. Now, he will do it 6 or 7 times before he'll even, notice you. So he does it about the 5th time, and Gary goes, gee, and the guy says, what's wrong? He said, I don't know. He said, I feel something on my shoe. And the guy said, well, can I see your shoe? He said, no. He does this, and he said, oh, you have the Brunswick cleat on there, and walks away. And Gary goes, excuse me, of what? You have the Brunswick cleat on the bottom of your shoe. Those are neolite soles, I think. Yeah, and doesn't say anything. And then it's like, what's he talking about? I have a Brunswick cleat on there. So finally he'll go up to the guy and say, excuse me, you mentioned I had the Brunswick thing on there? He said, yeah. He said, what does that mean? He said, well, we got thousands of volts running under these studios. And if you have a Brunswick cleat on your shoe, he said, when you step on one of those wires, now you're probably stepping on a 110. They feel like something on top of your shoe? He said, yeah.
I never heard that.
And he said, when I said, that's it. He said, now try to be careful not to step on 1,000 water because you really get a pretty good... You're kidding. He said, yeah. Well, where are these? I think in this studio they run... Boy, I don't know. I'm not sure. And he'll walk away again. Then you got to go, wait a minute. The 1,000 water. Where is that? So he said, I'll tell you what. He said, I can ground you if you want me to.
Oh, come on now.
He said, what do you mean? He said, well, you see those oil trucks with a strap hanging down the back? That's for sparks in case lightning hits or anything. Now, he said, if you got the Brunswick cleat, you want to be grounded, fine. So I said, okay. So now he cuts him a piece of chain about this long. I swear. So now Gary's got to carry this around. He's walking around with just long enough where you got to bend over and
Keep it grounded.
Yeah. And he walked all day like this. He'd go into a scene and he'd hang on to it, and he'd talk and do everything. He still kept his chain with him.
Many years ago in Central Park in New York, this is before the benches were all bolted down because people tend nowadays to take them. In those days, the benches just sat there. There was a fellow sitting in the park on a bench reading a paper, and he waited until a cop came by. And upon seeing the cop, he picked up the bench and started to leave the park. And the cop, New York cop says, hey, put the bench down. Guy says, I'm sorry, it's mine. Cop says, what do you mean it's your bench? Fellow says, it's my bench. Cop says, put it down. You drunk or something? Naturally, he takes the fellow and his bench, takes him to the judge in night court, where the fellow says, I told the policeman that it was my bench, whereupon he produces a bill of sale from a carpenter who had built him the bench exactly to those specifications. He had taken it into the park when nobody was looking, sat on the bench, and waited just for that moment. There was one years ago, it happened here in Hollywood, at Cyril's.
Oh, that's
the
famous.
then famous nightclub on the Sunset Strip.
At that time, there was a princess, a prince of Saudi Arabia, crown prince, who was known to be very, very extravagant, spent money lavishly like water. Some actor found out about the prince possibly coming to the United States. He dressed himself as the prince. He got himself a couple of actors to be his entourage, and he got the best table, a special table at Ciro's, and he had a tremendously lavish party going. He spent money very freely. He handed out tips very freely. And at the end of the evening, he was about to leave, and as he stood up, he had a bag of jewels that was very evident. It was a bag of jewels, which he gave little tips and favors for. The jewels fell to the floor, and there were thousands of them rolling all over the floor. And his entourage started to pick them up, and he stopped them. He says, it is not dignified for us to pick up these jewels. Just let us go. And they walked out, and all the Hollywood luminaries, a lot of stars, producers, directors, all clamoring under the table, that's my ruby, give me that, no, that's my pearl. Walked out, and everybody found the next day that they had paste.
All cut glass.
All cut glass.
That was in the 40s at Cyril's.
I wonder who the stars were. They said they were major stars. I wonder who they were. Greta Garbo wouldn't be on the table.
I cannot see Humphrey Bogart saying, give me that ruby. No. But maybe he did. Great stunt.
Well, I wasn't a major star, never have been, so I guess I really couldn't have been included on that one, yes.
I don't know about you. How do you feel about answering machines?
They're too impersonal. I'd rather have a person talking to me.
It's almost impossible when you get somebody's answering machine to even sound like a person. You start talking like the machine. It's nice to talk with you, and for some reason.
Yep.
So here's what you do to get even. You pick up the phone. You wait for their answering machine. Now that you've got 20 seconds, you look at your watch. Timing is all important.
Yes.
Hello. Recording. Look, Sam, it's 3:30 right now. Yeah, I got a call from Fred the other night, and we were going to go out and have some dinner. I think there'll be Fred, Janet, myself, Ed, just a few people, and we want to ask you to meet us. Yeah, there's no special occasion or anything, so if you can make it, we'd love to have you there. It's just going to be a hell of a great night. We're going to meet at 7:30 at...
And just leave it.
So, now, what does good old Sam do? He starts calling Fred and Janet. Of course, we're not going to answer their phone. I'm not going to answer my phone. And he's wondering where this wonderful occasion is taking place. You know, there's one standard practical joke that has a lot of variations, and that's substituting the size of something.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm referring to?
Goldfish category.
Yeah, goldfish.
I don't know who it was, but this woman was very proud of her prize gold. I don't know how a goldfish becomes a prize goldfish, but it was a beautiful goldfish. She loved them. And somebody decided she was talking too much about the goldfish, so they decided to make it special. They stole the goldfish and put another goldfish of similar color, only a little larger, into the tank. And every day for about a week, they
would go to that
a little larger fish until she had a fish that couldn't turn around in the tank. And she was telling her friends, I don't know, somebody's overfeeding them. Something's happened. There's the water or something. And she had no explanation for why the fish got so big. And I think then they started...
Would reverse the process.
Until they got a little tiny guppy in there, a gold guppy.
That's like the guy with the, he buys a Volkswagen, right? And his neighbor, and he's telling his neighbor, listen, you won't believe it.
This is when they first came out.
Everybody was so proud
the
of
gas
it.
mileage, you won't believe on these things. Yeah. You know, I got a new car here. He says, I must be getting 30, 40 miles an hour. I'm kidding. You're kidding. No, I swear. Right. Yeah, a gallon, 40 miles a gallon. So now the neighbor goes in at night and keeps filling up the tank. Now the guy's going, you won't believe this. I'm getting 85 miles to the gallon on this. You're kidding. No, I said, I haven't been to a gas station in months. Really, this is unbelievable. Now it's 110 miles a gallon. I'm telling you, believe me, have you ever seen me in a gas station? I've never gone in with this car. I put one tank of gas and I'm still driving this thing. Now the guy goes in at night and starts siphoning it. Right? So now the guy goes back now to the dealer and goes, excuse me, something's wrong with this car. What? He said, I was getting 140 miles to the gallon. You know what I'm getting now? 4. I'm getting 4 miles. There's something wrong here. No, it's fine. That's the original equipment.
That's one of the great stories.
Yeah.
I think people would take the time to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to thank you both for being part of this program. This has been fun.
I enjoyed it.
Some of the great practical jokes are more fun to tell than they are to see them.
Is something going to blow up on us?
No, I have a feeling this whole room is just going to explode all of a sudden for finish.
Or else this isn't a show. We're just sitting here doing
That's right.
Yeah, this is
just to kill your day. Thanks, guys, both of you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Carl.
Okay.